We were the first retailer to carry David. We've also been great friends for a long time. But David, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, well, first off, thank you for picking me to be your first guy to chat with on your show. So, for me, I've been doing this since I was like 16 years old. I kind of started as a stylist, worked a lot of retail, and then after that, I kind of just, did a lot of graphic design, and then from there, I slowly kind of transitioned into cut and sew clothing in about 2013. So that's the short version. We'll start with that for now.
Okay, dope. So let's just start with like what was it like starting up the brand?
Yeah, I feel like growing up, I was really heavy on like music and just like streetwear fashion. So I think for me, when I first started, you know, getting into fashion, it was when it was a men's brand. It was like LRG, BBC, uh, Ice Cream. You remember those brands?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So basically, what I did was when that kind of came up, I always want to start my own brand, and I didn't really know where to start. I didn't really go to school for fashion, so what I did was I went on YouTube and I just kind of YouTube all the time, like how to start a line, and I would just ask as many questions as possible. And then from there, I taught myself how to do graphic design, and then I just kind of made a T-shirt brand to start. And it was the shittiest brand when I first started. It was like the worst graphics, but you kind of have to start somewhere. And for me, that's where I kind of started. It was graphics. I sold it to a lot of friends. And from there, I wasn't making no money at all. I feel like the first couple years, it was like the worst. Like, I was working my side job. And then after that, I would work on my clothing stuff. And then, pretty much after, like, I think it was around when I was about 23, that's when I started that's when I started Kollar. So that's when I was like, you know what? I don't want to be graphic teacher somewhere. Let's switch it up. And that's when I actually did my first cut and sew. And it was funny because, as I said, again, I was inspired by like LRG, BBC. They were doing a lot of trade shows. Back then, it wasn't really e-commerce. You know what I'm saying? It was more like trade shows. So for me, one of my dreams when I first started Kollar was to be at a trade show. And so, I remember when I first met you, Fresh, I just started the brand Kollar, and I was knocking on your door, and I'm pretty sure that's when I think like 2 years in, you were opening your shop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, we chatted before I was in any stores. You were the first one that was like, yeah, all right, I'll try this out, see how it works. And so that you were my first store. And then after that, that's when I started doing trade shows. Right. But the whole trade show thing, I kind of just there was no plan B for me when I first started. It was like, this is what I wanted to do. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to learn as much as I can. Took all the money I had saved up, and that's when I actually started taking the money in. I hit up some factories overseas, made my biggest collection I could make at the time. I was very used to making like 4 or 5 T-shirts. So this was like, we were doing like 10 jeans, 5 shirts. So it's like 15, 20 pieces. It was pretty big for me when I was starting. So I remember I was doing, I signed up for the trade show. And I pretty much went all in, right? I was okay. I made the clothing. Everything was super last minute. And it was okay, I'm going to put money into this. If I don't bring any stores out of this. So when you go to trade show, there's a bunch of retailers that show up, right? Mm-hmm. And at the trade show, what happens is people would actually tell you like if they want to carry your product or not. And so basically for me, I took all my money I had and went to the trade show with it, not knowing if I was going to open any stores, right? So all the money I saved up from working, it could have been a flop, but basically I took the risk. And then that's when I first got a couple stores from the trade show. And then, I slowly built the brand from there. So that's kind of how Kollar started.
Well, I mean, you being the first brand in the store, I think it was you and Raised by Wolves that we had in the store first.
Oh, yeah. I remember that brand. Yeah.
And when we started the store, we couldn't really get any of the brands that we really wanted in the beginning just because of proximity. There were some brands that had you know, some stores that had all the brands we wanted. Like we wanted Stone Island like years ago. You know what I mean? But we went to go see them, and like, you know, at this time I'm like 25 years old. I'm walking in this showroom and they're looking at me like who are you? Like you have a store. How?
Yeah,
Where? You know, trying to do all this research on me, trying to figure everything out, and
yeah,
it was really tough. And then I guess our whole MO and at that point was like, all right, we're gonna take whatever we can get. So one of the first brands that we got was Raised by Wolves, which is based out of
Montreal.
Montreal, yeah, a guy named Pete. I think it's some of the guys behind High Snobbery as well.
Yeah.
But we had that brand, and we didn't really have a lot of money when we started. We probably had like $5,000 when we started the store. We ended up getting in that situation. We were blessed the way how we got in. There was a store before, and then we ended up taking over the whole store. And then I remember Raised by Wolves, they would give us like 90-day terms, 60-day terms. So we ordered this massive shipment, $25,000 order. And even for them, that was probably the biggest order they've ever had.
Yeah.
And
risk, bro, for real. That's right.
Yeah, me and Aaron, I told Aaron, this is when Aaron first started working at the store, and I was like, yo, we got to do whatever we can to flip this, because this is what's going to pretty much be our bank to fund this business. 100%. And then at this time, we were working with Hennessy. Shout out to Chris Powling. And Hennessy sponsored the party. We did like a massive release, you know, promoted the hell out of it, worked with all the promoters for the world, pushed the hell out of it. And then we literally brought, I think we had like 400 or 500 people come through that day in shop. I think I'm pretty sure we sold out a majority of everything. And that's literally what birthed the whole nine from there. We took that money and then we just kept rotating. And then I remember when you came by and you're like, yo, I have this brand, Kollar clothing, and it was very different from what we were selling, because you had more like conservative clothing, I would say.
It wasn't.
We had like button ups. More things like that. But I was like, yeah, let's try it. And then I remember you had the jeans, the ones you have now, and like we were doing crazy numbers with the jeans. I remember like our first order, I think was like $5,000 or $2,500 on consignment.
I remember that. Yeah. That was
from 25
order when I first started for sure. But damn, all right.
5,000 to 10,000 to like we've had $35,000, $40,000 POs, which is like massive for a Canadian brand. Like that's not like a Macaj or a Canada Goose or something like that. You know what I mean? We're both starting from scratch, so it was dope that we were able to like come up together and build this together, and
100%
to be where we're at now.
I think it's interesting that, you know, I see a lot of brands in Toronto come and go, you know, and it's just like the fact that, you know, I feel like we're both always trying to grind and just make things happen, but like just continuously, you know, I feel like every year there's always like a new obstacle in terms of like, for example, right now we got the whole COVID-19, right? How do you deal with that so you don't shut down? You know what I'm saying? And how we both have to like figure out ways to like get around it. And it's just literally survival of the fittest, just like figure out game plans and figure out things to do, right? So it's good that.
Well, how's COVID-19 affected you?
So to be honest, like, you know, as for every brand, I think it definitely affects every fashion brand. I feel bad for the big box stores, to be honest. That's the one that I feel like.
Yeah.
I was just.
But how does it affected you directly? Like, what have you had to change in your day-to-day business and what you did on your day-to-day when it comes to, like, you know, your office, your employees, whatever? What have you, like, had
to be honest, I think for me, my routine is, like, I'm very big on routine. I'm very, like, OC with that. So, like, I like to get up, go to the gym or meditate, do what I do, eat, etc., then go drive to the office. And I feel like it's harder for me sometimes to get motivated when you're just, like, you wake up and then you have to force yourself to work out in your house, and then you have to grab your laptop, go in the living room or go in the kitchen, etc. And then you got to like, it's not as like a routine for me, and I feel like I'm not as productive. So I got to really have self-discipline and like, just like find ways to like certain hacks to like get my mind right to do certain jobs. I think another thing that really affected me was like, just like I have a team that I work with. I feel like it's kind of hard sometimes to like get your point across over the computer versus like face to face, you know, it's more interactive. and then having that team culture is not really there anymore because you're on a webcam half the time, right?
Yeah. Have you had to let go any of your team?
Yeah. So
Really?
yeah, for sure. So basically, we had to let go. I think it was one or two because just at this point, what I think is the smartest thing, and like some people might come back, to be honest, if once this whole thing is over, it's
Yeah.
just from doing research and based on my experience, for any business owners right now, you got to run as tight as possible. So like I call it like the hibernation mode. So basically, cut your expenses as low as possible. Negotiate with your landlord. Be like, listen, like I can only pay this much. Can you do this much at a time? And most of them will be, they want to continue doing business with you. Everyone's hurting, so they kind of understand. So close out on that, and then just talk to your employees, your team members. For me, that's what I did. I was like, hey, listen, like, this is what we need right now. If we can negotiate like a price that we can work with at the time versus the full thing, and then just decrease expenses altogether, right? So whatever you don't need, we're saving money on toilet paper now and stuff like that, but that's like minor shit, right?
Yeah.
I
How's your landlord been with you? Has your landlord been cooperative, or has he or she been like, I need my money no matter what on the first?
Yeah. So my finance
if you're allowed to say, if you want to talk about it or not.
No, it's all good. Yeah. So we actually just reached out to her like a month ago because that was like the last thing we wanted to cut down on because we're all working from home, right?
Yeah.
Because I still have a warehouse at it's split into warehouse and office.
Yeah.
I still have one person coming in to ship stuff, right? So I'm more asking for a little discount or like delayed payments. So I'm not asking for a full out like give me 50.
Well, yeah, because you run the distribution yourself. You have yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Try to bring everything in house so that we just have full control of everything. Just so we know like this is gonna ship this time, and so.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then in terms of like, I remember me and you, I called you, I think the first week of January, and I was like, yo, you see this virus? Remember I called you, I was like, yo, you see this virus? And you were like, yo, what do you mean? I'm like, yo, this shit just hit China. So that's about to slow down all the production. Like any production that you have in China, I know you produce all over the world, but whatever you have over there, it's about to slow it down. And then like, obviously we see that come to fruition that everything's kind of been slowed down, everything that we ordered from before. Like, how have you been able to like pivot from that and been able to keep the clothing coming in, product coming in?
So I'm a big believer of like never have your eggs in one basket kind of thing. So basically, not sure if that's the right quote, but basically for me, it's like in anything I do, I like to kind of diversify a little bit. So we have like a factory in China, then we have a factory in Turkey, and then Colombia. So it's all split up a little bit, and every factory kind of works for different things. So as you know, Fresh, like when you sell our brand, like our denim does the best for you, right?
Yeah.
And so it was funny because when it hit China the hardest, my whole entire factory shut down. China's like, yo, we're not doing nothing. We can't even ship anything out of the city. And I started freaking out. But at the same time, I got kind of lucky because Turkey didn't get affected yet. And that's to get my denim. So I initiated with Turkey to make the products. And the time it got here, China fixed it. And then Turkey closed down. So I got lucky. Honestly, I got lucky.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely like for any business, anyone that's doing like products, I think diversifying where you do your shipments is key. If someone's late, you have another factory doing something for you, they can pull through. If they don't ship to you or they scam you, you have another factory. So it's always good, right, with everything. So yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. And then has anything else, are you guys doing anything to kind of help out anyone who's affected, anyone else who's affected by COVID-19, whether it's like the frontline workers? I know like every business in the world has some type of initiative going on right now. If they haven't started it, they are starting it right now to help people out.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, we're sampling masks right now for Kollar, but we're trying to make it, a bit more fashionable, but still like it's still like, I guess you can still use it for health purposes.
Yeah.
So some of it's gonna be like a paisley, one's gonna have black diamonds on it, but like it's more like a fashion piece that you can, if you want a regular mask.
Yeah.
But I have the regular ones I'm gonna sell too. But I think we were talking with my team. I'm gonna sell it for a reasonable price, but at the same time, I'm gonna donate a couple to like hospitals and stuff, or even grocery stores. I was at the grocery store today, and they're not even wearing masks. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, I know.
I feel bad,
Yeah. Okay, dope. And then what do you think, like what's your whole idea of what you think this new normal will be? Like after all this is done, if it's ever done, hopefully it is. Like what do you think the outcome will be? Like what do you think, like business for Kollar, do you think it'll be business as usual, or what do you think will happen?
Yeah. I think number one, I don't think they're gonna find a cure for a while, for at least a year, right?
Yeah.
Even if they do find a cure, people are still gonna be paranoid. So I think, fashion masks is gonna be in for at least like a year and a half, I think,
Yeah.
at least. And I feel like it's gonna be the new norm of wearing a mask when you go out. Unfortunately, but it is what it is, right? That's what I think. And then the second thing is, I find that I could be wrong, could be right here, but I just feel like because everyone's stuck in their house, watching Netflix, doing the same thing every day. As soon as things over, I feel like everyone's gonna go out. Everyone's gonna like. I feel like for me, like I'm gonna want to do more things. I want to go out, do things I wasn't doing before.
Yeah.
Spend more quality time with friends and just out and about, right? And I feel like maybe spending habits might go up for companies. For like, yeah, a lot of people lost their job, which is really unfortunate. Lucky government Canada's kind of helping out a little bit. But at the same time, I feel like once everything kind of resets, people are going to be more like the mindset, I feel, where they're like, you know what, let's just do what like all the things I ever wanted to do, I'm going to do it now. Before it's a debate, if I want that, whatever brand name it was, and then maybe now I might want to get it now because I'm like, fuck it. Because what if I fucking die tomorrow from COVID, right? So knock on wood for everyone. But it's not the right. But yeah, you know what I'm saying though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so I just want to know, what advice would you give to, anyone who's trying to start a clothing line right now, or, who tried to start a clothing line this year, or had a launch this year, a big collection this year, or, or who already has a clothing line and, they're dealing with what's going on right now. What advice could you give them?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the main thing for me, as I keep continue building my business myself, is number one, your business is defined by you. So what I mean by that is the knowledge is how your business is gonna do, right? So the more podcasts you listen to, the more books you read, the more YouTube videos you watch, the more questions you ask, all this is gonna be the answer to how you're gonna make a decision. And every decision will base if you are successful, if you level up or you level down, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I never try to stop learning because there's always stuff to learn no matter what, right? It's like unlimited knowledge. And I feel like it's free. All this information is free out there. You got books, you got, podcasts.
YouTube. Yeah.
YouTube. So, for me, number one is focus on yourself. No matter what people say, you can't do it, no matter what industry you're in. I remember when I started my lines, I went up to this woman that was a friend of my other friend. He's like, oh, what do you do? And I just started calling at the time. I wasn't in any stores yet. And she was like, I'm like, oh, I'm starting a clothing line. She's like, oh, really? She's like, that's hard. I don't know if you should do that. Like, I did it. I failed. It's bad. Yeah. I'm like, yeah. But then in my head, I was like, yeah, but I'm me and you're you. I know I'm not going to give up, and I'm going to learn as much as I can and do it, So at the end of the day, I think it's number one, you got to believe in yourself, and you got to really focus on building yourself. So every little thing from waking up, taking care of your body, learning, listen to podcasts while you're driving. I don't really like reading that much, so I listen to audiobooks. I'm more of a movie guy, but if sometimes there's certain books that I know I should read because it's going to make my business better, I'll spend maybe an hour a night just like it's homework. You got to do it. You want to be successful, you got to read it. That's how I got to see it. So that's number one. And then in terms of your question for fashion, if someone's getting into that, I think the main thing is definitely understand what market you're trying to get into, right? When I first started, I kind of said to myself, I want to be this brand and I want to be like this, 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 this. And I was kind of all over the place. I wasn't really sure my identity of what the brand was about. And so it's hard for people to kind of connect with you if they don't really know. If you're constantly changing identities in your brand, like, okay, when I first started, I was not really a streetwear brand. I was more like, I would say it's like very like, it was streetwear, but still like very like European in a way. And so I think that number one thing is understand your market. So like, if you're going to be high end or you're going to be like a fast fashion, whatever it is, find out your market. And the answer is all on the internet, bro. Like if you look at like, I have a couple of brands that I look up to that I like. When I first started, the first thing I did was.
What are those brands, just so people know?
Well, I can't lose my sales over that.
Okay, yeah. Okay, go ahead. Here, go ahead.
But, no, I have a couple. I'll tell you maybe later. Let me think about it. But yeah, so basically, for me, like some of the brands I was looking up to, I was like, okay, how do I become good as them or better? For me, that's how I always saw things. If I'm gonna start some, it's either I'm gonna be just as good or be better, or I won't even do it at all, no matter what, right?
Yeah.
And I think everyone should aim for that. Everyone shouldn't like aim for like, yeah, like I think I can do it. Like I'll kind of make this brand. Hopefully I'll make this much, and that's what happens, bro. If you don't do this, fashion's not easy, man. You know this, right? Fresh is fucking hard, right? Yeah. So it's one of the hardest business you could be in, and I learned it firsthand too. And it's just like the main thing is, you gotta go full out, no plan B. It's just plan A, and you gotta be doing this like 12 hours a day, like almost all day, every day when you first start. If you don't have a team, it's all you.
The dealers.
That's 100%, right? but yeah, man. So basically, the main thing is like, for me, I looked at a brand that I liked, and I was like, how to become good as them or better. And what I do is look at their website, buy their clothes, look at their branding, look at how they're shooting, the quality of the photography, their videos. And all you have to do, the formula is out there. You don't even have to like be in school to learn this. You literally just have to look at it and you have common sense to be like, you can, there's a little hack. I'm gonna give you a little hack. If you go on someone's website right now, like, and you want to see how well they're doing, if they launch something, you can actually max out how much you can put in their shopping cart. And a week, check how much you can put in the shopping cart, and that's how much they sold in a week. That's a little hack, eh? So, but basically, like, for me, that's what I did too. I was like doing little hacks. I was looking at people's site, like, okay, how fast are you guys moving? Is there a market there? And then I was like, okay, this guy has a market. It's a good market. Then I look at their competition. I'm like, okay, there's a nice little market here where people are making money. So I'm like, there's room for me. But number one thing, though, is you're going to join that market. You got to have something to bring to the table. If you're going to look like everyone else, they already have that person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel like if you're a brand, you're either going to bring like some sort of lifestyle, you're going to bring like something unique, and you bring some sort of interesting marketing or something different with the products where you stand out, but then you're selling to that market that is popular, So
yeah. Dino, mute your. Yeah, thanks.
I think that's Dino from 507.
Okay.
Another story.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I feel like, a lot of people have seen your brand online. A lot of people, if they've seen it in Get Fresh, you know what I mean? You've had it for years. We've sold thousands upon thousands. But a lot of people haven't seen real success of a Toronto brand. I feel like there's only a few Toronto brands. Like they have success in terms of like notoriety and success with like, this person wears it, that person wears it. But you're actually a brand and a person that has success in terms of numbers. Like not gonna put your numbers out there, but you've been able to grow, to grow $1 million business. And I feel like a lot of people wouldn't even think that is possible. You know what I mean? A lot of people are out here pushing. There's been a lot of brands, as you said, there's been a lot of brands that have come and gone in the city, but you've had the success, you know what I mean, to push it to that $1 million, multi-million dollar level of a business. What are your plans moving forward? Like, how do you keep that growing?
Yeah, that's a good question. it was funny. I'll be honest with you, bro. Like when I was growing up, you know, I didn't really come from money when I first started the brand. So like for me to even have a visual idea of being a multi-million dollar brand is very difficult. But it's just like for everyone that, you know, is trying to attain that, it's definitely attainable for anyone. If as long as you live in like, you know, a place where there's a lot of opportunity, there's no excuses not to be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like there's the answers are out there. You just got to read the right books, talk to the right people, and you'll learn and do it. But the main thing for me is, you know, I feel like for me, if I'm not waking up wanting to be better or like wanting to, or looking forward to something, I get really bored and like I don't even know what to do when I wake up at that point. And at that point, I don't really want to live. So for me, you know, if I'm waking up every day, I'm blessed to be waking up to have like the chance to like live and do anything I want. So for me, I always want to try to upgrade in everything I do. So if it's personal, if it's my business. So for me, like every day I try to upgrade something on my business side. So, you know, right now, you know, as you said, you know, we're multi-million brand and we're building it. But like for me, it's more than just the money side. I think the main thing for me is to build like a whole new, like, I guess like having Kollar, like for example, All Saints is, I've been compared a couple of times to All Saints because the aesthetic, the quality is very similar to Kollar.
Yeah.
And I like All Saints as a brand as well. So when people say that, I don't mind. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So, but what I like about them is that they have like multiple retail shops and, you know, they're kind of located all over the world. For me right now, I'm just an e-commerce brand and I'm sold in stores and we're getting out of like most stores and keeping exclusive stores, right? So I'll be like in your store, for example. But for me, it's like opening potentially a brick and mortar store down the road where like I'll be like an All Saints for Kollar.
Yeah.
So that's something I would want to do. And I think I didn't really practice these questions, so let me be honest here. I'm trying to think. So I'm not, what else would I really want? Yeah, and then just right now, like with the team, like the main thing that we're transitioning to for Kollar is that we're trying to define luxury clothing, not just by price point, but by quality. So like a lot of people, you know, you'll get like brands with, you know, really, really high end price point and the quality sometimes there, sometimes it's not. So for Kollar, what I want to do is really focus on the quality first before the price. And then, you know, still keeping it exclusive, but that's kind of the goal right now. And just like having a good core program as well. Because right now, every month we have like new products, but we don't really have a solid core. Like we don't have products that are always coming back. And I feel like a lot of people hit me up on Instagram. It's like, yo, is this coming out again? Is that coming out again? You know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right. I'll take the most popular and I'll bring it back out.
So would you say that it's really important for anyone to start a brand to really focus first on developing a core collection, or I guess not core collection, but core items?
Yeah. Good question. I think for me, like, I think when you're starting out, you shouldn't try to do like, for any brands that's trying to start out right now, I wouldn't recommend like starting a line with like denim, jeans, t-shirts, jackets, everything all in one. Because what happens is something's going to hit really well and the rest isn't. And what's going to happen, be stuck with all this inventory. And that's how fashion brands shut down pretty quick because of inventory. You know what I'm saying? You're you know? So me, like, you know, you just gotta constantly, you know, for me, like if I was to start my own brand, it'd be like, what do I enjoy wearing? You know what I'm saying? If I like denim or tees, if I own a lot of something and I'm starting a brand, focus on just that. Once people trust you on that and you have a clientele, whatever you drop next, they're just gonna buy on top of that.
Yeah.
And your risk level is lower. And then where I started, where I made a mistake, and I'm going to give you another tip here for the other brands out there. A lot of people like making so many colorways for one style. They'll make like black, white, red, blue, and they'll have all these colors. And I did the same mistake. And your black and white and gray is going to sell out, and you're going to be left. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like the main thing is don't do too many colorways, keep it tight, and do when you're starting out, you want for me, like when you're starting out, go local, like do your manufacturing local because the headaches overseas right now to get a good sample when you're just starting out on minimums, they're not going to take care of you. You're like a small fish to them. So build your brand locally. You can go in, check your products, make sure it's good. Once you've hit certain numbers, then you start reaching out to your factories.
Yeah, that's what we did. Like the approach, that's the approach we took. So, I mean, me and
Yeah,
you were
tell me a little bit about like how you approach
yeah.
that stuff.
Well, we spoke about it for years before we even made a first garment. We were like, you were telling us about overseas and this, that, and the third, but I was always skeptical about it because I'm like, I want to always be able to touch everything, and I'm a control freak. I want to be able to see like, okay, cool, like how's this shirt being made? How's this being made? Like, how's the quality of the fabric? Can I wash it? Can I like? And I think the back and forth is what kind of like worried me. You know what I mean? Like you get a sample, it takes you a week to get it. You make your comments, you send it back 2 weeks later with all your comments. It's like now 30 days is gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what we did, like the first thing, I first started trying to make, the first item we ever made, which was our scoop tee, we tried to make it in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So, we went to LA, we started, first two items was the YYZ hat and the scoop tee. And we went to about we drove around, went to maybe about 8 to 12 different factories. And it was like, we just couldn't get it. No one had the right fabric. No one could get the right fit. And I'm like, I'm in LA. I'm not going to be able to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. By the time I've gone back and forth 4 or 5 times, I've already spent my re-up money.
Yeah.
So we were introduced to a factory over here that made, they made Supreme. They made, I think they did Wings and Horns at the time. They did Rock Nation stuff. They did Billionaires Boys Club. Like they did all.
That's good.
Yeah, they did all the top brands. They were not cheap. They were probably 5 times the price as everyone else. But it was dope because it was 35 minutes away. We can go. We can control everything.
Yeah.
They're the ones who actually taught me a lot about fabric. I didn't know about fabric. I didn't know about garment manufacturers. I'm a buy and sell type of guy.
Yeah.
Sell off the trunk type
Started
of guy.
with retail. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I started. I didn't actually ever want to make clothes, to be real with you. That just came out of necessity of, we've got a store, we can't get any clothes, we need to make it.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, start with something that you love. I like longer t-shirts. And obviously, this trend of the long tees and all that was there. But like, I've always liked longer t-shirts. Like I always wore button-ups because I loved how they like scooped at the back and they were always longer than regular t-shirts.
Yeah.
So we started, I was like, I'm going to make a t-shirt like this. There was a couple places that had scoop tees, but I'm like, we're going to make a t-shirt like this. And we found this fabric that was so beautiful, this 250 GSM cotton made here in Canada. But the minimums were crazy. He was like, yo, you got to make 300 pieces of this t-shirt. And the t-shirt costs X amount. I'm not going to put my cost out there, but it costs X amount. And it was expensive.
It's out of LA?
No, this is out of when we finally made it in Toronto.
Oh,
so
sorry.
We made it in Toronto, and he was like, you got to do 300 pieces per color. 300 white, 300 black. This is the first thing we've ever made.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. I remember like, I don't even know if I'm going to do this. I said, all right, F it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And we got it. We put it in the store. And, our store is about 1,000 square feet.
Right.
We have a few other brands, and then we just have this one rack with our stuff. And I had the mentality as well, like, oh, we got to make everything because the store is so big. We got to be able to do everything. But we started with the one shirt. It probably took about 2.5 to 3 months for the shirt to pick up. What I started doing is like I started giving everyone who come in the store and buy something, I would just give them a tee.
Okay.
And then that's how it started. The same thing with the YYZ.
You start talking about it, yeah.
Yeah, we would just give it away because I'm like, we've got 300 of these things. We got to get rid of them somehow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we started giving it out, and then it was literally like drugs, bro. Like someone would get it, they'd wear it. 2 days later, they'd be back, yo, let me get a black. And they come back 3 days later with their boy, yo, let me get one. Then they come back, and we ran out of that 300. After the first 2-3 months of making it pop, we probably sold out in about a month and a half. From 300 t-shirts to, I'd say we're well over 10,000 of the exact same t-shirt.
Damn. Yeah, I remember you told me about this. Yeah.
We didn't change anything. All we changed was the neck label. That's it, because we updated the logos and all that. But that was our number one seller. So yeah, I would agree with what you said and go and tell people like, listen, when you're starting a line, when you're doing anything, don't worry about having the full blown collection unless you just have the resources to do that. But I still wouldn't do it. I would save your resources, make your 1 or 2 products, and spend the rest of the money on marketing.
Yeah.
So, like, to this day, like online store today, I went and shipped out a bunch of products like scoop teas. To this day, we're almost 5 years in.
That's crazy.
Same product selling. We've made tons of different things. Nothing has had the success like this one T-shirt. So yeah, I agree with you with that. And then once we did that, we introduced another T-shirt silhouette. Then we introduced a couple of hoodies, and we did all of our manufacturing here. We didn't really start manufacturing anywhere else until probably about 3 years ago. 2 or 3 years ago is when we started. But we've made a lot of manufacturing mistakes. A lot of people don't see it. Like, you know, you walk into a store or you shop from a brand, you're only seeing like what that person deems is perfect. You know what I mean? Like what they've worked on. They're not seeing the losses on the 1,000 shirts you ordered, and you know there was an F up on the shoulder, or how long it was, or how wide it was, or how short it was. Exactly. Where the manufacturer's not giving you a discount, where they're not telling you, don't worry, you know what I mean? Like, we'll take care of you, we'll jump on the next one. None of those things where you just got to take the L. I remember we made these jackets. Hussein, our designer, came out. We made these 2 jackets, the ribless bomber and the roadman jacket. And we were like, gassed. We got ripped off. Also, do your research when you're manufacturing things, because manufacturers will rip you off if they see you have money.
100%.
Like, they're like, you got to do a 100-piece minimum. And it was like $140 a jacket. I think we made like 250 jackets of this style. And we had to sell this jacket at a you know, obviously at a certain retail point, because the jacket cost us so much money. But people weren't used to spending that kind of money with us. You know what I mean? Even when we started making our T-shirts, we were selling them at $60. People were coming in our store every day and were like, $60 white T-shirt. It's a white T-shirt. Why is it $60? You know, it took a while for them to be like, oh shit, this is the best $60 I've ever spent. You know what I mean? There's people who come up to me in the street. I was in the grocery store 2 weeks ago and someone came to me and goes, yo, bro, do you know how long I've had this T-shirt? I've had this T-shirt for like 4 years. So it was worth the investment. But it's you just got to figure out your angle and what it is. Like, obviously I would start with a super high quality product and really push it, use that to build your name. Try not to get screwed over by the manufacturers, because they will take, you know, it's business. Everyone's trying to take advantage, and everyone's trying to make money. So if they see you're young walking into this place and you got a bag of cash, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. Like, this is how much it costs. This is what it is.
Especially starting out, and if you look young, like, they're confused. You know, they're like, oh shit, you know, we're gonna take advantage of this guy, make some money. You know,
we were walking in factories and they'd be like, yeah, issue me a PO, and I'm like, PO? I don't even know what that is. Or issue me a purchase order. Like, the first thing we ever made, and like, he could tell you this, and a few other people were in the room, like, we went to go have the meeting, and I didn't even know how it worked when you went to go have a manufacturing meeting, and I just had a brown paper bag full of cash. And I was like, after we shook hands, we didn't even like, there was no PO, there was no quantities, there was no colors, we didn't even discuss anything. I just handed him the money. And he was like, yo, bro, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, here, like, this is, you know, this is the payment for it. He goes, I didn't even tell you a price. I'm like, I know, but, you know, just hold. For me, I was so eager, and I'm looking at myself like, okay, I'm this 25-year-old dude, you know, and I'm walking in this guy's office. He works with all these massive companies. So I'm obviously super eager and trying to show everything I can to show, like, yo, you should work with me. So I just walked in and gave this guy a bag of cash and was like, yo, just to let you know that I'm serious, like, let's work. That's how everything started with Get Fresh.
That's sick, man. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then he was just like, no, man, that's not how we do things. Like, we don't do things here. Like, you get a PO, you send a PO, send me an email, we go back and forth, we'll send you the invoice, and then you
I'm confused, man. This guy's passion. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was crazy. Big learning curve. Like, I feel a lot of people are probably going through the same learning curve, because, you know, I feel like everyone a clothing line so easy to start. So not easy. It's easy to start, hard to maintain, but easy to start. So everyone always tries, but they don't really know all the ins and outs. And there's a lot of podcasts and books you can read and all that, but they don't really tell you the real nitty gritty. You only see the success stories on Instagram, people smiling at the end of their runway show, not knowing they're losing their hair and going crazy
100%.
behind that curtain. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's crazy because I feel like when we both kind of started, that time was like the most difficult because there wasn't as much access to everything. Like, I don't think Shopify even existed back then.
It did, but it wasn't. No one really knew about it.
Yeah.
Even Instagram was brand new.
Yeah, everything was kind of brand new when we started, and like, I get a lot of people telling me though, they're like, "Yo, you're lucky though. You started when there was no competition." Blah blah blah. Honestly, I feel like if I started right now and I had to reset, it'll be easier.
That's
like,
just the way you
know. Coming to me, telling me like, "Yo, you're lucky. You're lucky you started 10 years ago or whatever years ago." You know, so like, I don't know. It depends. Like for me, I feel like right now, it's so easy. Back then, there was no influencers online. You know what I'm saying? Now you have
only real influencers.
Yeah, 100%. And then I just feel like right now, you know, if you're starting any brand, it's like everything is available within your fingertips. You go online, Google it, you find it right away. You know, so.
Yeah,
look at Dino from 507. This guy's. I couldn't. Dino? I see this guy with his background. What's up, brother?
What else I want to talk to you about? Like how can the general public, clients, or consumers who buy, you know, from not just our brands but all over, what can they do to like take part and help all these brands? Because obviously, fashion and food and beverage, I'll probably say, are the first two industries that are going to take the massive hit, unless you're like reselling luxury goods and Travis Scott sneakers and all that. I'm sure they're probably even seeing a decline right now, but not as much.
Yeah. Sorry, what was you kind of zoned out a little bit, my bad.
No, I'm saying, what advice could you give to people, like to the public, to like help, you know, brands like you and I and all the other brands in the world to like, you know, obviously we're going through all this, like our store shut down. It's been like a month and a week since we've been shut down. Obviously we have our line, but what advice could you give to like, you know, your customers and customers of all types to like help? How can they help these brands? How can they help businesses stay alive?
Yeah, that's good. Well, I think number one, it's like, you know, I see a lot of people posting on Instagram, like support your local, you know, like from your favorite restaurants, ordering from them from Uber Eats. And just even like, I know a lot of brands right now, like even some of the brands that I still enjoy shopping on, everyone's having a sale at the end of the day, right? So, you know, I feel like every fashion brand's kind of hurting right now. And I feel like if they're having that sale and you do have a little bit of extra budget, then I would, you know, buy that piece you always that's on sale now and just kind of help and support them, you know? So I think for me, hold on, I'm kind of echoing. So.
Dino, mute your mic.
Mute, bro. But yeah, so what I was saying is like support your local and just like if there's something on sale, like buy it so that you can kind of support them. But also at the same time, everyone's hurting. So, you know, not everyone has money right now to even buy stuff. People lost their job. Even sharing the brand on your story is very helpful. You know, it doesn't have to include money. Yeah. Just like spreading the word, like, hey, this is one of my top favorite brands. Support them if you can. Maybe someone in their circle can actually buy something at the time, and that'll help the brand out as well, right? And then maybe, you know, the brand can repost you as well, and then, you know, you get some new followers from that. So both party wins, you know. So I don't know. There's like different things you can do, but like for me, you know, sharing stories, talk with the brand of your friends, and just like buy local as much as you can right now. So.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, dope. I mean, I think that's pretty much it. If anyone has any questions, there's a chat on your right side of your computer. We already have some questions there already. One new message. Katie, are these all the questions here?
Yep, those are all the questions that have come in. So anyone else who has questions, please go ahead and add them to the chat and we will pull them from there.
So let's start with Dimitra. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Katie, can you unblock her video so she can ask her question?
Yep. Dimitra?
Well, I was just asking if, because he mentioned how to, he mentioned scamming, getting scammed. So I was just wondering how he, I guess, avoids getting scammed by factories in Turkey or China, but if you're not directly going there.
Yeah. So to be honest, when I first started my brand, like I didn't really go to China. I actually didn't go to China for at least like 2 to 3 years before I actually visited them. So I've been scammed before, so I can tell you what you shouldn't do for sure. But basically, like number one is not a lot of people know this, but when I first started, there's actually something called quality control team. So every city that has a factory has a quality control team. You can pay them. I think it's like 100. I think I pay like no, it was like 298 US, and they're located everywhere in the world. So you can pay a team in China that's not related to your factory and is separate. So what happens is you tell them what the product should be. So what happens majority of the time when you work with factories overseas is they'll make you the best sample. You're going to love it. And this is how I got scammed. You put your money in, 30%, then 70%. It comes here. Something's going to be off. There's going to be an oil stain. There's going to be the fit's not right. The tags are crooked. And this could be for anything, not just fashion, right? So anything that's a product base. And the way you get around that is when you get your perfect sample, you want to hit up your QC company, which is a quality control team. And there's a lot of good ones. One I was using is called SGT. You can Google that. But basically, what they do is they would actually go into the factory, make sure your factory is legit. So that's the main thing. They can actually check before you even place an order if it's an actual ethical factory, if it's a legitimate factory. And then once you've confirmed that, they will check the products. They'll take it. Let's say you have 200 pieces you ordered. They'll go through each piece, open the bag. They'll play around with the buttons, make sure the buttons don't fall out. They'll measure the shirt, make sure the shirt's the exact same measurement as the sample. And so when you have all that taken care of, majority of the mistakes happen. And before you pay the remaining 70% or 50% of the total, what's going to happen is you can negotiate, be like, you need to give me a discount, or you need to throw this stuff out, or you need to remake them. But if you don't do QC, $300 versus spending thousands of dollars is night and day. So spend that $300 because that's the only way you can actually know if you're going to get a good product. Because once it gets here, it's too late. They don't really care about you after that. After that, it's like, I got your money.
Yeah. And then once you ship all the goods here, once you've paid all your duty and your shipping and all that, by the time you get all that, it's never going to be worth it to send it back because you're not going to get your duty or your shipping back as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I think another good yeah, go ahead.
No, I just said thank you.
Oh, okay, no problem. Another good thing is when you work with a factory, when I start working with a new factory, the main thing I ask them is you can go on Google, there's a list of questions you should ask them. Based on how they answer those questions, you'll have a better gut feeling if they're a legitimate factory. So one of my first factories when I was working with them, they hit me up and they said, I do production for this brand, this brand, this brand. And so I say, okay, you do. Okay, show me a video or like a live chat of the production for that brand. So it gives you more confidence if you know they're doing production for a brand you know already, because you know the quality's there, you know they're capable of doing it. But if most of the time, it's not always best to go to the cheapest route. Just kind of like figure out a price point that you're still making money and they're working with brands that you know is quality. And the main thing is continuously build a relationship with that factory. because they're dealing with many clients. At the end of the day, if they like you more than the other clients, they're going to take care of you first. So that's it.
Sweet. Question for you. Just, I feel like this is something people should know. How do you go about negotiating terms with your factory? So see how you were saying, yeah, you pay 30%, but then you pay 70%. How do you go about negotiating your payment terms?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think when I first started, I was like really clueless. So I just pretty much said yes to everything they said because I didn't know how, like what I actually should be paying, right? But now that I've been doing it for a while, for overseas production is usually 30% down, and then when it's done, it's 70%, right? That's usually how it is. If they say 50-50, that can happen, but you can push down to 30. They're most likely doing that. But the way you do build up that relationship so that you can build it to a point where they'll ship everything to you without even a dime being paid. And then once it's here, you pay them the rest. And then to a point where you're so big and the confidence is there between your relationship with the factory where the stuff will be here and you don't have to pay them for 30 days. But that's really hard to attain. But I'll tell you like how to get there. So number one is when I reach out to a factory, the main thing you want to do is you want to exaggerate and boost a little bit. If you're doing like, let's say 200K in sales, tell them you're doing like 400K, 500K in sales. And just tell them like, when I reach out to a new vendor, I always tell them, okay, listen, this is how much you're doing in sales. Business is really booming right now. I'm going to be doing this in the next 6 months. I'm going to have these celebrities wearing my stuff. Here's a picture of a lineup when I did a pop-up shop. Here's a picture of my products of people wearing it, blah, blah, whatever it is. The goal in the initial conversation is to spark their interest. Once they're interested in you, they're more willing to give you things. If you're just pitching them, be like, hey, I want to create this shirt. Can you make it for me? They're going to give you the highest price and they give you the worst terms. So what I like to do is I like to make them feel like I have something to offer them versus them having something to offer me, right? So you want to flip the tables a little bit, make it seem like they're lucky to be talking to you. And so when you have that conversation with them and you're telling them, this is my idea. I've already got these people on board. I got these investors, or I got this much money to put down on the products. But what I need are these things. And so what you want to do is they're most likely not going to give you any terms when you first start. The first year, you're probably going to have to do whatever they want you to do. The second year or midway through it, you want to talk to them and be like, hey, listen, as I'm building the brand, if I hit this number, I'm growing, I'm giving you more business. Can you start giving me, instead of 50% down and then 50% upon receiving it, let's start with 30% down and then 70% receiving it. And then you slowly work up to, now that I've worked with you for 3 years, I'm consistent with paying you and you have a good track record, then they'll be like, okay, I'll go buy the fabric and make the product for you without even a deposit. And one thing about fashion, anyone that's starting it, it's a cash flow business, right? So basically especially when there was like seasons, now everyone's doing monthly, you know what I'm saying? Well, like Fresh, when we're doing seasons, fall, winter, spring, summer, 4 seasons.
I hate it.
Yeah, I hate it. And is on this call too. And like, he knows it's like, it's a tough business when, you constantly have to like buy inventory for each season. And then you got to put your money out. So basically for me, like I would make spring. Like when would I make spring? Right now is right now I would be building my spring, summer 21, for example, right? So next summer, I'll be building that right now. I go to a trade show. If this whole COVID wasn't happening, I'll be going to a trade show in August, for example, right? I don't do trade shows anymore, but if I was, back then, I was going to a trade show in August. I would have to get all these orders in. I would put a 50% deposit, 30% deposit to the factory. And that inventory is not coming in for 6 months. And I'm stuck with all that cash with the factory. That cash to make the fabric. So once you get those terms, your cash flow is so much better. And so your money's always out of your bank. If you think starting a clothing line, you're going to make a shitload of money right off the bat, bro. Same. Like, I'm telling you, like, at least 4 to 5 years, you'll start making, like, it takes 4 to 5 years. I've done my research on other brands too. And even for me, I didn't make a profit to like probably like 2 years ago, I'll be honest, like I was like constantly putting money in, money out, money in, money out. And the only time you're actually going to cash out is if you sell your company or you pay dividends. That's it. Other than that, your money's going right back out to the next products. And if you have one bad season, that money's gone. And you better have some extra money in the bank. You know what I'm saying? So
one bad season could cost you 2 years.
100%. Yeah. And it's
unless you have a lot of money.
Yeah. Then it's different. But like, even for me, when I started, like, if I didn't do a good season, I would have been wiped out. At one point, I'll be straight up, I was like 500K in debt. I kept going though. I was like, yo, I'm gonna get out of this debt. I'm gonna keep going. But I actually felt like I had a special product, so I was like, I kept going with it. But realistically, at 500K in debt, man, that's some scary shit.
Sure.
So, all
right, let's go to the next question. Thanks, Dimitra.
Yeah, thank you.
Chris Vaughn. Katie, you want to unlock Chris?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Or Chris, if you can get to it faster, do you want to unmute yourself?
Yeah. Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey.
What up? Nice picture.
What's up, Chris?
Good. This is more of a digital marketing question because it's kind of in the world I'm in. I do web design and optimization. Okay. So I was just wondering, because obviously you're an e-commerce brand, how much of a focus do you put on optimizing your ads and also your website? Like, do you constantly change and edit things to try and make it better than it was so you can get like a higher conversion or like maybe like get more people viewing the ad or whatever it may be?
Yeah. I think, for me, like now that I'm more of an e-commerce brand, and I'm more focused on e-commerce, I would say like 80% of my business is ads. Like I'm running ads all day long, and I'm checking my ads on a daily basis. And I think 100% anyone that, especially right now, ads. I think the ad price went down on Facebook because of this whole situation that's happening right now in the world. So right now it's the time to take advantage of the ads, and Facebook's going to go up. I just applied for TikTok ads recently. They're just opening that up now. So that's a good market. TikTok's kind of blown up for me or for just the world right now. And I think that's a good place to be at. And then in terms of the website, if you look at my website, it's always different, like almost every drop. I try to I'm constantly going on other people's site and seeing what they have that I don't have. And I'm constantly adding it, because if I'm going to be an e-commerce brand, I think like the more information you have, or the more simplistic or minimalism you have in your site, the faster conversion you're going to have. I also run this thing, I don't know what it's called, but basically it records when they go on your site. They actually record
Hotjar.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
You're in digital marketing, so everything I'm saying you probably know. But like,
yeah.
But basically, I'm constantly studying how long it takes them to go to check out, pretty much from beginning to end. So if I can decrease that every time, then that's my goal, right? So for any brands doing e-commerce, I think don't make it so complicated to shop. I think the main thing for me that made a big difference is not making it so complicated to shop like certain products. Like if I'm shopping on t-shirts and then I want to go add jeans or get a matching top or denim, if I have to leave that page to go out of it and then go pick another piece of denim, it's going to confuse the user. And I feel like if you can have a quick tab where you can pick the denim right away, and then the shopping cart, you want it to pop in to the website. You don't want to exit the whole entire site just to go to your shopping cart. So the slide in is key. So that's what I've kind of learned from it. But you're in the industry. If you have any tips, man, let me know.
Yeah, no, 100%. I just focused a lot on the analytics portion of it. That's like what I base off like all the web designs I do, because I try and tell businesses like you can have an ugly website, but if it converts, it converts. Like it's the numbers that matter. Like some people just focus way too much on the look of things, and it's the usability that counts.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you got to find that balance. But I was just curious what you thought, because it's hard telling a business when they like some even today. One of the skincare brands that I deal with, they
Yeah.
make $1 million in revenue a year, and they don't like utilize online. It's all wholesale and everything like that. And I'm like, listen, like there's a huge area you're missing right now, and none of them see it because they're not doing it. But I just want to know from your perspective, because obviously you're doing it, like you're in the middle of it. And I
I
just
mean,
want to know how.
I'm sure they're listening to you right now because none of these.
For real. Honestly, another thing that I do as well, that next time you purchase something from an ad, screenshot it and think to yourself, what about that ad made me want to click on it? Like I have a whole folder on my computer of things that made me click on. Like if I clicked on an ad and I bought something, I don't like, for me, like I spend my money kind of stupid sometimes on like things I don't need, like certain like shirts that if I don't need, I'll buy it. But like it's because the ad intrigued me. And I feel like if whatever that ad is, if it intrigued you, there's something psychological, either the picture or a certain word. For me, one of my tips for ads is I like to use an emoji before, like a carousel ad does the best for me, and a story ad. I'll put an emoji in the beginning because everyone has ads, but and there's text, but then there's an emoji, like a fire logo or whatever it is. I just feel like it does better for me. I did a little test on it, and always do A/B testing when you're doing ads, right? So do like as many ads as possible in the beginning, and then cut it down and just pump it. And one thing I'm starting to learn right now too is that's happening well for Kollar is just slowly scale it. If an ad is working, don't try to create another ad on top of it. Although there's algorithms on Facebook, what happens is if something's doing really well, after a while it dies down, you have to update that ad. But the key thing is to scale it slowly. If you're just going from like $200 a day and you're doing well with it, let's say you get a nice return on it, and all of a sudden you go like 2K, Facebook will kind of like see it as a weird algorithm, and what from my testing, they'll actually make it like it won't be as good. So for me, like I scale it slowly. So I'll do like 200. Next week I'll do 500, then 800, and then after that's unlimited, bro. You just gotta get your inventory right, and then it's just gonna sell out. And that's how.
That's 200, 500 a day or a week.
So I'm gonna be like for me, I'm gonna start spending like 4 or 5K a day. But I gotta make sure the inventory's up. But like when I first started, I started at 200. But like I scaled it to that point. But just have the inventory right. I've also was doing some research on other brands, and I saw another brand was showing his screenshots, and I was screenshotting what he was showing, and I was looking at what kind of ads he was running, and he was just scaling slowly from like 200 a day all the way up until like 3 months later, some doing 5K a day. His return was about 4 times. I think he was making like 25. It was a European brand and from the UK, and the guy was doing like 25K on like 3K. So 4K a day he spent, and he made 25K in sales a day. So, and then 6 months ago, he was doing half of that. And so I know him scaling, that's what he was doing. And he just bought more inventory. But yeah. So that's pretty much it. And for your client, what I would do is, if you really believe that you can bring sales to them, you should make a deal with them and say, listen, I'll do your ads for this, let me take this percentage of your online business. And once it's working, you can start paying me on a monthly basis and lock them in for like a contract. Well, like a lot of people are skeptical about like online business because, you know, whatever is working for them, they're scared to invest more money to something else. So I feel like for you, you should really like make it so that there's no risk involved for her other than you just like putting the work in, and then she's putting the money for the ads. And as soon as she sees like, or even find a brand that's a beauty brand that's already doing the ads and see if you can show it to her. But like, look at this brand, they're doing what you're doing and they're making this much, you know? So.
Yeah. Is there anywhere, I see you guys are recording this right now, is there any way that I can get this recording just to show them?
It'll be on the Get Fresh Company IGTV.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
That's
All right. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks, guys.
yeah, thanks for tuning in, bro.
Donnie Diaz.
Book and podcast. You want to start? You got any good books for us?
You start first.
Okay.
Donnie, you there?
Oh, I think it's just
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing?
What was that?
So how you doing, man?
Good, bro. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks for tuning in.
Oh yeah, thank you. Thank you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, so basically, right now I have a lot of podcasts to listen to right now. Can't remember it off by heart.
I'm pulling mine up.
Yeah, sure. I think for books, there's certain books I'll listen to on audio, and there's certain things I'll read. There's one that's really good that I just started reading. If you're an e-commerce business, it's called Profit First for E-commerce Sellers. So it's this one here. That one's really good because I'm not really a numbers guy, I'm more like a creative guy, and I feel like anyone that is more of a creative person or want to focus more on the creative side but still want to understand the profit stuff. It kind of talks about like how to split up your bank account. So instead of just having a checking and savings account, you have like your checking, then you have and then you have your sales, and then you have your employees. So you split up all the money in your bank account so it looks like a cash flow. That's just a short version, but that's good. And Fresh, you want to give one?
So for books, let's pull it up. For podcasts, I listen to the productivity show.
I didn't know. I'm gonna look that up too.
Productivity show is good. Also, Shopify Masters does a really good job. I listen to them as well.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I would say those two for that. For books, let me pull up my iBooks. For books, I'd say Clockworks was good by Michael Malowski. Design Your Business to Run Itself. That's a good one. Own the Day. Kollar, you actually put me on that one.
Yeah, that's my favorite one, man. That one's crazy. It's just kind of like life hacks for everything, your personal and your business life.
Yeah, and the 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing.
I'm writing this stuff down too, bro. Yeah, I have here. I'm gonna give a couple here too. For podcasts, I like Andy Frisella. He's more of a motivational. If I'm at the gym, I'll listen to him because he'll just talk about he just keeps it real and just talks about how to own your day and just grind and kill it. I also like the impact theory. Talks about different theories in life, and how to hack your brain and stuff like that. Hustle Sold Separately is really good. They interview business owners and CEOs in each podcast. The Business of Fashion, if you're a fashion brand, that's purely fashion. Yeah, so that one's good.
The books and the podcasts that we're recommending, other than the Business of Fashion, are for any business. It doesn't matter what business you're in, as long as
100%.
It's good for all businesses.
Yeah, and then the
whatever.
Yeah, the Diary of a CEO. That's a good one too. Yeah, and then a book list. I have a lot, but I don't know if I should go through. I'll do my top 3, and then for that, and then so I use Audible for the book. I just listen to it when I'm driving or if I'm working out. But it's Good to Great is a really good one. That's basically they study all the business that are billionaires versus millionaires, and they figure out what they're doing differently than the other ones. So Good to Great is a good one by Jim Collins. Shoe Dog is good. It's about Nike if you're a fashion brand. Blink is pretty good. How to Trust Your Gut. That's what Blink is.
That's a good one. Yeah,
that's a good one. Extreme Ownership is good if you're a lazy person and you just don't have the discipline to wake up and grind and do your thing. That's a good one. Extreme Ownership. It was a guy on the U.S. Navy SEALs, and he wake up like 4 a.m. when he was in the SEALs, and then when he turned into a business, he did the same thing, and he talked about it, and it's pretty good. If you have a big team and you're trying to like focus on your business, like helping and like making sure that there's team cultures, Leaders Eat Last is a really good one. And my favorite is 48 Laws of Power. That's a good one. Yeah. 50 Cent talks about that one all the time.
You got it, Donnie?
Dude, got it. That's amazing. Thank you guys.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Got some good stuff. Yeah.
Matt Ross. Matt, you there? Katie's Matt still there or not?
It's past his bedtime, I think, bro. It's gone.
Sorry, I'm just like scrolling through.
Yeah.
Matt's still on here. Matt, are you there?
Matt, unmute yourself. You're on mute.
Matt, you should be good to go.
Matt. All right, let's move to
Next question.
Yeah, let's move to Dino. Dino, you there?
Dino. He was just there.
I mean, his question was good anyways.
Oh, wait. Oh, here we go. Dino, you got to unmute yourself. Press the unmute button.
Can you hear me?
Okay, I can
I can hear you now.
Hey, guys.
What up?
Buddy. Last time I talked to him, I think he was in Greece.
You're unmute again, bro.
I think you're muted again, bro.
Hold on.
Okay, here we go.
I hear you now.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I can't go there right now, so I'm a little sad. So I figured I'd tune in.
Yeah. Are you in Greece right now or Toronto? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So your question was since
That's don't mind the background, eh?
oh, you're good, San Fran. Since trade shows are closed, how are you wholesaling now? So, baby, that's for you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like, how are you meeting your clients? Are you?
Oh yeah, that's right. That's a good question. To be honest, man, like I feel like right now with the retailers, a lot of them are not even open. So I feel like they might skip a season. To be honest, a lot of retailers I think are skipping a season. But I got out of the wholesale game, so I'm not really wholesaling as much. I have a sales rep that's doing it, but I think right now, just before this whole hit happened in Canada, he's already booked most of his orders, but we're not really getting no restocks from any stores right now. I feel like even trade shows this year is gonna be really bad for trade shows too. I feel like everyone's just hurting right now, especially retailers, you know. But yeah, man, you gonna start a shop again? You out of the game, or you want to do something else now?
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
Bored. Maybe. Yeah, I think that was the one question. I think I had a different question though.
Wait,
was there another question? Something about
you had two.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. No, well, it's pretty much the same question. It's just where's the action?
Where's the action? Yeah.
So yeah, hey guys, where is the action right now since COVID? Are you guys finding stuff? Yeah, I'd say direct to consumer, same thing. Yeah. Consumer.
Active on that because it's you guys are going through probably a lot of different changes, and you're gonna have to adapt right now, and it's gonna be the hardest, thing to do right now without making any mistakes, because that's the last thing you want to do, right? So, what are you guys finding that's working? That kind of thing.
Fresh.
It's online. It's pushing the online. Our basics our core collection is what's really pushing. You know, our daily sales have literally come down to like things that we've sold for the last 4 or 5 years. Our core people, I don't know if people are really taking a gamble on new products right now, you know, investing in new items. I think people are more of like, okay, let me get my guaranteed, you know, t-shirt or jeans or what I've been buying for the last couple of years. I know that I'm going to love it. I don't really want to gamble right now.
Yeah. What I'm seeing too, when I'm looking at like different shops online, is a lot of people are focused on like essential core stuff, things you can wear at home that's comfy. So even for me, like the new drop that I'm coming out with is a lot of like shorts, sweatpants, stuff like that that you can wear in the house and outside, right? So I feel like that's where I'm doing too. And I'm being a little bit more fair with the pricing, a bit more competitive. Since everyone's kind of salary went down a little bit, so my price had to go down slightly too, but yeah. What?
Are you able to receive goods?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Fresh, you receiving goods right now?
Yeah, we're still going to be receiving goods from a few of our Canadian manufacturers and some of our overseas. It's going to definitely take a lot longer than it usually does, but we'll have some new items coming out within the next couple of weeks.
Can't hear you, Dino.
Probably another good reason to be local or have a local supplier anyways.
Oh,
Yes
yeah.
and no, because local is actually more affected than Asia right now. Asia is like the number one right now. Like everyone in Canada you're either making mass or they're at home.
Actually, yeah. It's a good point because even in China, they're just killing right now with like either making, like you said, making mass, and right now they want the business. They're back in action.
Yeah,
they're trying to maintain COVID a little bit. The only part that's hard right now is shipping. The cost is so high to ship.
Times 4. Yeah.
Literally, everyone's dumping masks into the Air Canada flights and everything, and like even Air Canada took their seats out just to put like different product in it, you know. So
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, man. All right, Dino. Take care, brother.
Catching up, man.
Alex, you there? Katie's Alex still there?
Hello.
What up, man? Who's your
Good,
question
how are you
for?
guys? What was that?
Who's your question for?
David.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
My question is, would you be down to collaborate with like other Toronto clothing brands that is like the same level as you guys, like your team?
Yeah. What brands would you recommend?
Like just to throw it out, like Cotton.
What's that? Con? Oh, Con. Okay, Con's cool. I like that brand. Yeah. Honestly, we haven't really collabed. Did we ever do a collab? I'm trying to think. If I ever did a collab. Yeah, I've never done a collab yet. Other than I think me and Fresh were working on something.
Yeah.
So
we'll have to wait after COVID.
Yeah. But me and Fresh were working on something. And yeah, Con's a dope brand. I like how minimal their brand is, and their fabrics are really nice. So yeah, I would be down for something like that for sure. Especially if they're from Toronto, you know, I feel like if they have a good product and we're both kind of like leveraging from each other, then it makes total sense for sure, man. So if you have any recommendations, send it through, bro.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Okay, Katie, how do you pronounce this?
You're gonna put this one on me?
I don't want to say it wrong. You say it wrong.
Canoops?
Yeah, Canoops.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
There we go. What's going on, bro?
Yeah. Hi. For David, do you wear any other brands besides of Kollar?
Yeah. I wear I have a pair of Balenciaga sneakers. I have a couple Miri boots. Clothes wise, I had some Rude tees from LA. But majority of the stuff now is like I wear Collar a lot. now because it's just cheaper for me to make because I get the cost price. But otherwise, like I definitely like supporting and buying other brands on top of my own brand because it's nice to kind of feel their quality and see how they package things. And when you buy something, you put it on, you're kind of like feeling how other people would feel when they buy their product. And then I can really use that psychology for my own brand as well. So yeah, for sure. I definitely like wearing other brands too. But yeah, I like Off-White, like you mentioned here, Balenciaga, Rude, Represents, what else?
Misbehave. I don't know if you know it.
What's it called?
Misbehave.
No, I never heard of that one yet. I'm
Oh,
gonna check them out. Misbehave?
yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, they're one of my favorite too.
Shit, I should know that, eh? Fuck.
Yeah, it's really good. Another question is,
Wait, is Misbehave the one with the? They have like this special chain on their jacket. Is that the one or no?
yeah, so it's,
It has like a chain on their to lock it. Like they use a lot of clips. Is that Misbehave?
No.
Oh.
They're popular from their bodysuits, their female bodysuits.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Kith and
Oh, Kith is a good brand. Yeah.
Kith and them did a collab. And Kylie blew it up.
if I can, another quick question. How much money do you spend on clothing? For example, a piece that you really want, but it's really expensive.
Okay, that's a good one. I think max I'll spend, to be honest, I don't like spending I don't like buying too much expensive clothes because obviously like I buy my own clothes or make my own clothes. But the most recent purchase, I bought something. It was I haven't bought something recently. I've been pretty good, but like I bought when I was in New York, I bought 3 Rude shirts. I think they were like $300 each. And to be honest, like, not hating on Rude, but like my quality's a bit better than theirs. But not for $300 though. Yeah.
I'm not taking too long, but
Yeah. Keep going. I couldn't hear the last one. What was it?
yeah. It's just that I forgot. Sorry.
It's
All good, man. Thank you for tuning in, bro. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
I think it's important for anyone in whatever business you're in, like if you're in the fitness business, food business, or whatever it is, you have to invest into your industry. So if you're in fashion, it's important that you buy other brands in fashion, like preferably local brands. You know what I mean? Like I look at it like good karma. You know what I mean? The people out there buying your brand, you should be out there buying other brands as well. So keep the money circulating.
Yeah.
But let's go to Timbit.
Hello.
What's up, bro?
How's it going?
I had a question. What's your favorite, for both of you now? Who's your favorite person to work with as like an artist, entertainer, stuff like that?
Fresh, you want to start? You worked a mad.
Coolest person to work with?
Like, you talking about like people that wear the clothes, or are you talking about like?
Like, I know Anders is a collaborator with Fresh, and I know you did one with Ariana Grande. Like, yeah, stuff along like that line.
Oh, like an actual collab, like a work.
Like, so who's worn the brand that
that y'all fuck with the most?
I'd say for me, I'd say Post Malone, because he's just been the most genuine, I guess, supporter of the brand from like years ago when White Iverson was out. He literally came to the store.
Remember that picture? Yeah.
With a case of beer, and we have a bench outside in the summer. And he went shopping and he sat outside the store for like 7 hours, just drinking beer and smoking cigarettes and like hanging out and chilling with us and talking to fans. And to this day, we're still cool with his whole team, and you know he still supports the brand, and the team still supports the brand. So I'd say Post Malone. Other than Anders and everybody else, you know, Yes Ways and everyone from the city, the Pressers, everyone from the city that reps. But if you're saying people like from abroad, like international, I'd say Post Malone.
Okay.
So, for me, I think I really enjoyed working with. So I didn't do a collab with Shawn Mendes, but I gave him like clothes, and I'm good friends with his best friend Brian. And every time he came down to Toronto, he hooked us up with like concerts. We partied together, and like he's a good dude, super genuine. So in return, I always hook up some gear. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it for me still.
Thank you for coming out. J. Lou.
Hello, hey. What's up?
What up?
What's going on?
What's up? So I understand you guys preach, the grind, the hustle, and be resourceful and go on YouTube, search up, your craft. But are there certain elements that make successful brands? So for example, the ability to storytell or, there's something special about it. What are those elements?
I'd say consistency, relatability. David, you can go.
That's pretty good, bro. You got some good ones. I'm like, yeah.
I had to get them all early. I was like,
yeah, for real. Damn, bro. Left with nothing, bro. Yeah, that's good. I would say, three key elements. Wait. Consistency, relatability. Fuck, for real, fresh. You actually took it out. Hold on, I got one. Hold on, give me a sec. I'm just trying to think. So, relatable. I think something about I'm not sure there's a word for it, but something about your brand that you can't get anywhere else.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? If it's like certain branding that just stands out compared to everybody else, or like a certain fabric that no one else can get, or like a certain fit then everyone copies you after, or whatever it is, it could be anything, but it's just something special about you. So
I feel that.
Yeah. And actually I know J. Lou, so a little shout out. He's actually starting an interesting brand, bro.
Yeah.
You should look. I think you'll like his stuff because I had a couple conversations with him and I consulted him on a couple stuff. I didn't know you're gonna join it today, but he's big on basketball and he's played ball all his life. And basically his brand, you talk about it, man.
So let's go back to the grassroots. So growing up in the city, going to high school, I went to Eastern Commerce. So growing up there, they had a big basketball culture, but not to say, Vince Carter, I looked up to him. That's how I got involved with the game. And then it elevated, going to Eastern, seeing all these amazing players and, how they worked hard. I played myself. I made the Batman team, but it wasn't good enough to make varsity or senior. But my love for the game never, went away. And then, growing up with David, running around, going to Goodfoot, being in the culture itself of streetwear and in basketball, I can see how they're relating and whatnot. So a good example of that is what I call tunnel fashion. So when NBA players go through the tunnel, they're in like their gear and whatnot. So my brand is called Bounce Apparel. Just want to make it for lifestyle apparel wear off the court and high performance wear on the court. So yeah, that's the main gist of it.
So basically, when he came to me like for a bit of consulting, his brand is basically like athletic brand, but it's just focused on basketball, which is kind of cool because it's very niche where everyone's kind of doing like just gym wear. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Cool.
Dope.
Good question, bro.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Good luck with the brand, bro.
Thank you. I might be knocking on your door one day, Fresh.
Holla at me.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
All right.
All right. Take care, bro. What's the name of it?
Katie, you can go next.
All right, Frack. Am I pronouncing that right?
I think you skipped one. Daniel?
Yeah.
Did we?
Daniel Lim, I think.
Sure, man.
Yes.
Hi, David and Fresh.
Hey, how you doing?
I just have a question. Once I'm able to finish creating a clothing product, what is the most cost-effective way to get your brand seen? Because you mentioned that now it is easier to succeed today than it was when you first started back when social media was just starting. Thanks.
Okay. You want to go first or me?
The most cost-effective way is sharing within your network. You know, share within your followers that you already have. Like, not even, let's say, even forget social media. Like, share within the people that you know, the people you grew up with. I'm not sure how old you are, but if you're in university, college, or high school, you know, you live in a building complex, townhouse complex, wherever you work, just you need to be. Word of mouth is the number one, and it's free. So everywhere you go, when you introduce yourself to someone, you should be telling them about your brand. Okay. You should be pushing it at all times. You know, it doesn't really cost you anything. Obviously, social media, pushing it on social media, there's obviously a lot of noise on social media. Like, I'm a little old school. Like, I'll tell my team all the time, like, I prefer to go outside and really push the brand outside. I prefer to, like, you know, I'm gonna go to all the barbershops, and if I have a t-shirt or a hat or whatever I'm pushing, I'm gonna drop it off to all the top barbers in the city, because barbers are the real key to everybody. Everybody's got to go to the barber every 2 weeks, or the hair salon, or wherever you go every 2 weeks. So I try to figure out who are the best influencers, let's say, but not really just social media influencers, because social media influencers are probably going to want some financial, you know, they're going to want to get paid. But think about who are the other conduits of the city? Like, who else has control of what's going on in the city? Number one thing I would say is barbers. If you have a men's brand, you know every man's got to go to a barber. Research every single barber shop in the city. Get to know every single barber in the city. That's not going to cost you any money. Maybe some transportation fees of going to see them, but go see them, talk to them, introduce yourself, get them familiar with the brand, get them in the brand, get them wearing your brand while they're cutting on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, which are the you know, the major days in every hair salon or barbershop. And, you know, people are going to see it. People are going to be like, yo, what are you wearing? And they can be your influence, the influencer for your brand, and be telling people about your brand as they go in there. There's a lot of ways to, like, push your brand for free. And word of mouth is the number one. Start with that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Thank you so much.
David, you got what's your
yeah
point?
I pretty much would say the same thing as Fresh, especially for, like, cost effective way. And the best part is, if you know your product is good, if they're wearing your products and they like it, they will talk about your product to their friends, right? So as long as you have good product, I feel like if the quality's good and they're wearing it, they're most likely going to talk. If someone goes up to, how I built my denim brand was, everyone loved the denim and the stretch. When they talk to their friends would be like, hey, like, what kind of jeans are those? They're collar jeans. And then they would refer them to the website. And a good way to, on top of what Fresh said, is I do influencer marketing, ambassador marketing. So it's a bit different. Influencer marketing to me is reaching out to influencers and saying, hey, will you wear my stuff? I'll pay you this much money. Or will you wear my stuff? You get a commission code for every time you sell it. So what I do as well on top of that is, anyone that is like a big believer of the brand can potentially be an ambassador after we do a couple, like, review questions on them and we look at their Instagram, etc. But there's an app called Growth Hero that I use. It's called Growth Hero, and basically what that does is it lets people sign up, and it creates a small little code for them to promote your brand. And I think just by doing that, I got like 100K extra a month from just influencers, and it costs nothing. It literally, I think it's like $10, $15, $20 a month I pay to get the app, and everyone just signs up, and then I approve the ones I like, and they start marketing it for you, and you give them the content to market. So that's a good one.
Thank you. That's pretty helpful.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Take care. Frank.
I don't know if I can, but I want to make another question to David.
Okay, yeah. What's up?
Hold on. Let Fred go. Let's
okay, yeah, we'll get Fred. Okay, yeah. Hold your question. You're next.
Sorry.
Hold on. We're gonna let Fred answer his question first. Ask his question first.
Yeah. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Frank, you there?
My brother.
What up?
What's going on, man?
Good day.
You already know. But a question. A lot of people want to know. What kind of funding does it take to start a clothing line? To be like, successful like both of you. A lot of people ask this question because I wear your brand a lot. Both of you guys, actually.
I appreciate
a lot of people ask me, how did your friends start that brand? What did it cost you? I have no clue.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, it costs more time than it costs money.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? Like, that's really what it is. Like, you could start a brand, like honestly, we started Get Fresh with $5,000. Literally, with 5 G's. That's what started the brand. And
it's more the hustle than anything else.
It's the hustle. It's not about the money. Like, you know what I mean? Whatever you have, don't look at it like I gotta wait till I get $100,000 or $200,000 or $300,000 or $400,000. Whatever you got in your bank or your shoebox or wherever your money's at, look at that money and be like, this is what I'm gonna start this business with. And then you alter your plans and your dreams to work with what you have. And then you flip what you have. There's this thing called bootstrapping. You make, you flip, you make, you flip, and you just keep flipping that same thing. And you just keep going. Just bootstrap, keep going the same thing until you build your bank larger and larger. That's what we did.
Okay.
So I don't know. I wouldn't say there's like an actual amount. Like, there's an amount to like grow. Like, obviously I wasn't hiring anybody right away. I didn't have a store. Like, I wasn't doing all these things right away. You got to grow to that. But for the brand, it's like we just started it small and just grew it to what you see now.
So at what point did you know that your company was ready to take on employees? Did you have to value it at a certain amount first, or
when I could no longer work 22-hour days? And when I first started the store, I would wake up 7 o'clock in the morning. The store doesn't open until 12. 7 o'clock in the morning, get myself together, get on my email, be hitting up brands, trying to get new brands, trying to hit up customers, trying to hit up promoters, trying to hit up people to come by the store. And then, 12 o'clock, I'm on the floor. I didn't have any employees working by myself. I'm working 12 to 8 p.m. And when we started the business, majority of our customers, they were night owls. They want to go, they want to come shopping before the club. So there used to be this party called Time on Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like the party. So we close at 6 p.m. on Sunday, but I'd be at the store till 1 a.m. on Sunday because my phone would just go crazy. So once I got to a point where it's like, okay, I need to be able to focus on other things. There's enough money to kind of come in to kind of balance things out. That's when we started to know. But to be honest with you, before I even had a first employee, I had an intern.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So my intern came, which is now one of my right hands. He came and he helped a lot with the business and built the business. So it wasn't until we started making enough money to cover his expense,
right,
you know what I mean, to be able to pay him, until I knew we can bring somebody else on. But there's a lot of programs that you can reach out to. There's this thing called YES program, Youth Employment Services. I think it's yes.ca or .org.ca. Just Google it. And you can actually either send someone, like either if you have an intern or someone who wants to work for you, they can go to that place. There's a program that they take for 2 weeks. And after the 2 weeks, the YES will fund your employee. I think up to it's like $5,000 or $6,000 will they'll cover your employees' wages. So that will, if you break that down, if you have them part-time or full-time or whatever, that'll break down at least to 3 or 4 months. So that'll keep you going. Because obviously it's not like back in the day, a lot of people aren't trying to intern. It's not cheap to live out here. So I would really look into that to start building your team. It's a great way. And then okay, I can hire this help for 3 or 4 months and really make sure you have that master plan to build. So in at least 3 or 4 months, you're not telling that person you can't keep them on. You've already figured out how to make enough money to keep them going.
Right. Okay, I got you.
But I would definitely check out YES. It's a program a lot of people don't know about. It's not just for fashion. It's for any business at all.
Oh, yeah. I know about them.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't know about these things, though.
yeah, I would definitely reach out to them. But yeah, man, it was just you just got to start somewhere. Don't wait to start. You know what I mean? Just really have a plan.
Got you. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, sure, man.
Okay, we gotta wrap it up just now. Rodrigo.
Yo, what's up? Good evening.
What's up? Who's that, Rod?
Yeah, what's good?
What
bro?
up?
Yo.
What's up, bro? Ask your question.
Yeah, I wanted to know how you guys deal with shipping internationally, like when sales start coming in and making it cost effective as well.
Fresh. How do you do your shipping right now?
I mean, you ship it more international than us, and you run your own fulfillment. We just use Canada Post. We don't do anything fancy. We don't have a lot of international shipments. Majority of our business is domestic, but we use Canada Post. Other than that, David, I feel like you would know better than me since you run.
Yeah. Sure. Basically, I think for shipping and logistics, like for me, shipping international, I find that DHL is the most reliable and the fastest, but they're very expensive. FedEx is good. It's the cheapest method, but it's a bit slower. So depending how fast your customers want to have the product, you should offer them the fast and the slower version based on their budget. And but majority of us is FedEx International. And then there's also a lot of companies all over the world that, because they work with multiple brands, they can actually decrease the overall shipping price for you by them handling your shipping, because they get, let's say, 100,000 orders through Canada Post, for example. You would be involved in that. So whatever cost the quote they get from Canada Post, it's gonna be a lot cheaper than someone shipping X amount versus 100K, right? Or 100K of inventory. So depending on how much inventory you're doing, it might make sense to piggyback off a shipping company that has a better price point than just going directly to like DHL, etc. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
How do you find those companies?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. What's that?
How do you find those companies?
You can just Google it, bro. You just type in Toronto shipping. I think it's called Toronto shipping. Give me a sec. I'm trying to remember what I did.
Definitely useful.
Yeah, this would be good for sure. I think it's okay. So yeah, if you type in Chit Chat, I remember that was a good one. Chit Chat. I'm using that one's good. There's so many, bro. You just type in get cheaper rates in Toronto shipping. Just like keywords, there'll be like there's a list of them, and their Chit Chat is a good one. You know, they have really good price points. So yeah, I would do that.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, and
Rod, thanks. Go ahead, Dave.
No, that's it. My bad.
All right, Rod, thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rod.
Next person we have is, we already got to. Timbit asked, how can people model for your brand? Any tips for upcoming models trying to get into the fashion world?
Okay. To be honest, I get hit up a lot on my email of like people wanting to be models to the brand. So I'm gonna keep it real with everyone. This is the truth, okay? The reason why we go through agencies is because I've hired friends and also other people to model my clothes, and I find it's very difficult because even though it doesn't seem like there's skills involved, modeling has a lot of skills involved where you just understand how to pose properly. And so for a brand that's doing, on a lot of e-commerce and lookbook, for me, I like to ensure that I'm working with an agency so that if anything goes wrong, I can hit up the agency and be like, hey, these guys didn't perform the way I wanted them to. Like, how do we fix this going forward? It's just more professional because I know I can look at pictures I've done. So what I would recommend, if you're not in an agency already, to get with the agency first and then hit up a brand from there, and then the agency will connect it. But it's, for me, it's not that I'm not willing to take a chance, because I have taken a chance of people that's not even signed to a modeling agency. Actually, a lot of models, and they became model after. I think the easiest way is don't write too long of a paragraph when you're reaching out to brands, because most owners of brands, if they're looking at their emails, if it's a pitch, you want to keep it short. So I get pitches that are paragraphs. I don't have time to read it. I'll just scroll down to their picture, and then that's it. So what I would do is, if I were you, number one is try to look at other brands that are using like models from agencies, and try to study like how they're study them on Instagram, study how they're posing, etc. And then when you're reaching out to brands to actually to get your foot in the door, because everyone has to start somewhere, is get professional pictures taken and then send it to them. Some people just send me like iPhone pictures, and I can't really tell if you're gonna be good or not, right? So send me a professional picture, and based on the brand, if you're reaching out to a streetwear brand like mine, get an outfit ready and shoot yourself in that kind of outfit, so I can imagine you in my brand. If you're wearing a suit and you send me a picture, I can't imagine you in my brand, right? So you gotta be very realistic with who you're reaching out to. Keep it short. Just be like, hey, listen, I really want to model for your brand. This is I have this much experience, or I'm with this agency, etc. But I'm always open-minded, bro. I'm always looking for new models. It is very a small market in Toronto right now, and I'm flying in a lot of models from different cities. So, dude, send me an email and I'll check it out. So, but that's what I recommend. But going through agency is the more legitimate way to really become a good model. But you have to start somewhere. So if you're gonna start somewhere, dress the role of the brand you're reaching out to, and keep it short, and take professional photos. So that's it.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. I agree with everything you're saying. You wrapped that one up good.
Yeah.
Good
luck, man.
Yeah, man. NCB, what up? How do we factor in the cost of shipping? David, you want to speak on that one?
Yeah. Where's it? Who is this? Shane?
No, NCB.
Oh, how do you factor? So when you say factor, you talking about shipping to customers or shipping from your factory to your warehouse?
She said customers. You could turn your mic on.
Oh, okay.
She said the customers.
Oh, customers. Oh, okay, cool. It depends on your product. Oh yeah, hello?
Oh, hey.
Hey, what's up?
Nothing, how are you?
Good.
Okay, so asking because I want to create a website so that people can purchase items off of it.
Okay.
But how do you factor in the shipping? Like, for example, if I have someone in Korea who wants to buy something, obviously it's going to be significantly more expensive than someone in Toronto. So do you connect the Canada Post or whoever you're using to the website so that they can see how much shipping is going to be, or is there a standard rate that you charge?
Yeah, that's good. What are you selling?
Well, I'm looking to sell because I have a travel group. Okay. So a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be selling is just going to be branding. So sweaters, t-shirts, passport covers, things of that nature.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, so for me, when I first started, what I try to do is I would measure each product, and then you can connect it with Canada Post so that based on weight, it would kind of give you an estimate of how much it would cost.
So you measure and weigh each item.
Yeah, both, yeah. But I find it it gets really complicated that way. So I just kind of talk to either I talk to one of those companies I told you, Chit Chat, for example, and they'll give you a rough price of what it costs to ship this weight to that weight. So let's say 0 pounds to 5 pounds is going to be this price in Canada. 5 pounds to 15 will be this price. And then I'll keep it flat. And some deals you might lose $2, and some deals you might make $2, and it all adds up at the end. So I would keep it flat rate, but talk to I would just measure your product, put in a bag, and get estimates from DHL, Canada Post, from everybody, or just talk to Chit Chat. They'll know the rate right away, And then from there, get an estimate. If someone's telling you like it's $12 to $15, just charge like $14.50, $13.50, and just keep it there. And it's gonna add up near the end. And it's just way more simpler for customers.
Okay. And you do that prior to putting the shipping costs on the website, or how you usually do that?
Yeah. So if you're using Shopify, there's an area in the shipping costs, and you can do it by. So I have a shipping cost for Canada. I have one for US, and then I have two based on the weight. So one is 0 to 5, one's 5 to unlimited, and then one's 0 to 5 for US as well. And then for international, it would just be one flat fee.
Okay.
Yeah. International is usually, I think I charge like $15 to $21, and it usually adds up. And it's a longer wait time, but it's roughly around there. For international, I would use FedEx or DHL now.
Okay, dope. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Take care. That was our last question.
Perfect.
Katie, that was it, right? Yeah.
That's our last question, yeah.
All right, perfect. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you, David, for doing this.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Any last words for anybody? Any last advice, whatever?
I think whatever it is that you're trying to, if it's a business that you're trying to start, or an idea you have, like Fresh said earlier when he was speaking to the other person, the key thing is just to get started and start doing stuff right away, and then you'll just get better. No matter, this is how I see life, right? Whatever you focus on, the hours you put in, you're going to be really good at it no matter what. That's just the formula. So the more hours you put into something, you'll be good at it. So if you want to start a business, or if you want to start something, or if it's something personal, if it's like a goal, just focus on that thing and just keep like putting all your hours into it, and it's going to become what you want it to be. And just have like a goal and always have like some sort of vision board of things you want in your life, because without a goal, you don't really know where you're going, right? So always have that set, know what you want, and that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, dope. Yeah, appreciate everybody coming out. Check out Kollar. So these talks are sponsored by Remy, what I've been sitting on. So Remy and I have come
You got to tell them to get me a bottle.
Yeah, no, you're going to have a care package shipped to your house.
Bro, thanks.
Yeah, it gets shipped out on Wednesday. So what we're gonna also do is we're gonna buy some gift cards from you as well.
Okay.
And then we're gonna we'll do a joint giveaway on our Instagrams.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, that'll start next week. But you'll get your case of Remy this week.
All right, perfect, man. Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, perfect. Yes, this will be recorded and uploaded on YouTube, IGTV, everywhere we can post this video. That's why we wanted to do it on Zoom versus live, because when you record the live, it just looks kind of crazy when you upload it. But thank you everybody to coming out. I appreciate everybody here. Can everyone turn their cameras on? I want to take a little screenshot or a video. Katie, can you do it? I don't know how it works.
I don't believe I don't have control of your videos.
Can everyone put, okay, I see the videos coming on now. Everyone put the video.
It's weird, man. I can see everyone now.
All right, let's change the view.
I can see everybody now.
Do the gallery view, yeah.
It's cool.
Oh, you can't all fit in one screen. We're doing a picture, so I don't know what pose you guys want to do. Do whatever you want to do. Oh.
All right, sick. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, enjoy. Everybody have a good night. Be safe. We'll be back to normal soon. Hopefully, thanks for tuning in. Have a good night.